Hello everyone, welcome to the Femafricmaths channel. Today we are very excited about our interview. I guess it's someone I met for the first time in 2018 when we were attending the EAUMP ICTP workshop, and yeah, she was phenomenal. She received an award for being one of the best participants of the workshop, and it was such an honor to see her also win an award recently. So it'll be good to hear her story so that it inspires not just Ugandan students, because we know it's already trending in Uganda, but we wanted to go across Africa and the world. So welcome to our channel, and we'd like you to start by introducing yourself. So your name, where you are from, and your mathematical journey. So what you've studied, your degrees. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Caroline Namanya. I'm from Uganda. I'm a PhD student, and the most recent news about me is I recently was awarded the IMU Breakout Fellowship, Graduate Breakout Fellowship, and I'm really excited. Okay, it's great. So my journey begins in Western Uganda. Mm-hmm. I was born in Western Uganda, and my father was working in the city in Kampala. My mother was a housewife, a housewife. So it was always a shift in between Kampala, Western Uganda. And I had my primary level from one of the schools in Western Uganda. It was a private school. So I'm one of those children that had luck to be in a private school. And from like nursery and P2, I was in a government school. So basically, I didn't know what education meant. So I can't say it really affected me. Then in primary 4, I was in a private school. And then from a private school, I was in the first grade. So I was enrolled to a school in Kampala, which is the capital city. But the school in Kampala is the school where my father was teaching. So it is, I don't think I was enrolled because my father was teaching there, but I had the grades, that's true. But then it was challenging to be, because they used to call a student whose parent is a teacher, our daughter, our son. So it was really challenging because all eyes were on you, your daughter of 100 teachers or 100 parents in the school. So it was really challenging because all eyes were on you. You're not allowed to break the rules. Everyone is watching you. If you make a mistake, then you'll be reprimanded. So it was really challenging. You really have to work hard and keep up with the standards. And then in the African society living, you do not have to shame your parents, like respect your parents' name. So it was always do the right thing in the straight path. Do not embarrass your father. Do not embarrass your parents, because you have like 1,000 parents. And then I remember we used to have academic committees at every end of the term. They were called academic committees, and like your teachers make a meeting with the head teacher, and then they read the top and then the bottom. So the top are like awarded with headmaster's handshake. You shake the hand. And then the bottom, you're punished.
Oh.
Like caning, African setting, caning and all that. But if you are a daughter or a son to a teacher, if they're caning two strokes, then you're given 4. So they would say our daughter. So it was always the struggle of do not be below average, and then you don't have to be above average. And then another thing in O level, because we have 2 levels, we have the ordinary and the advanced. So in O level, there was what they used to call restreaming. Like we had 4 streams in senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, senior 4. But then the streams were ranked according to the best. Then that one stream is picked out to be the best, and then the others students are mixed. So in senior one, it's okay. Like we are all in those classes, and then senior two, as you get promoted, they have to take you to the best class. So that like the best 70, because we used to be like, I think 380 in senior one. So the best 70 are taken to one stream, then the other are mixed. So it happened that by the end of senior two, from two, I was taken to the best stream. But then it was challenging because senior two, I was 14. In Form 2, I was 14. So it was really nice to like crack all the jokes and be funny. But this stream was really strict. Students, like from morning, they are reading. Up to evening, they read. You can never find anyone making noise. You cannot crack a joke. So it was really challenging. And it was a good thing since I was the daughter of a group of teachers. So it was a good thing. And then there is no backsliding. You cannot go back. You have to work hard to actually get at the top of this class. And in a way it was demotivating because these teachers, some teachers considered this as the cream of the cream. So they really never gave us so much time. Like in some instances, they would say, after all, you're the cream of the cream, so you can think these things through out by yourself without me having to help you. So much attention was given to these other streams that really needed the attention. And then you, in this stream, you're expected to work as hard as you can be. First of all, because all your friends are competing. Second of all, there was shaming. Like they would say, if you had gone to this stream and then you go back to this other stream, and say, you put yourself up there, now you're back to the ground. So it was shaming, okay, like killing confidence, self-confidence. So you had to work hard, and then you needed to push yourself. No one else is going to push you. And it was really challenging. I think that was like the hardest time my entire education, because I'm 15 now, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to push myself. I have been used to I used to say, I pass by chance. That's what I used to say, because every time I would read for an exam, and what comes in the exam is what I've read, and I'll say, I think I just pass by chance. Like if a student, because some students used to ask me, how do you do it? Like, do you read? Then I would say, no, I think it's by chance, because I just see things. But then one things I noted is that I used to remember something on the blackboard more than what is in the book, because we used to have discussion groups, and then people would say, my classmates would say, tell us what the teacher said that day, because they know I would remember what they said on the blackboard. These small things, not this, remember this, and those were the easiest for me to get. And I think those were the concepts that were helping me to remember the bigger concepts. So I did and struggled here and there, and then boom, I made it. So I wanted to do, by the end of senior 4, I had lost interest in biology. So biology was like really hard for me, like really so hard for me. And then I did chemistry. I used to think I was good at chemistry, but the results were like didn't favor me in chemistry, because because you choose subjects at advanced level in Uganda. So you choose subjects, and we're choosing 4 subjects. So the 4 subjects, they are given to you according to your performance in the ordinary level, the final exams. And then when they are giving you that combination, we used to call it a combination. When they're giving a combination, you would either do arts or sciences, but they would base according to your performance. So it happened that I wanted chemistry, but that administration said, no, you didn't do chemistry as well as you did physics and math. So, and then I couldn't do biology because I said I can't do biology. So I had to a subject, so they gave me economics, like because I had done commerce in the ordinary level, so it was easier to connect commerce and then economics, then physics, math, and then I needed a fourth subject. Which fourth subject? I had done a language, German. So I did German.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, wie geht es dir?
Gut und Ihnen?
Oh, es geht mir gut. Interesting. Okay.
So I did German, and doing German was basically, I loved the way my German teacher spoke. Like she was always she was always perfect to me. So she looked good and she was like an inspiration. I didn't know what was going on in her life, but I always used to look at her and like when we're in Form 1, we used to say Frau, like you say Frau. Yeah. So it was easy. It was nicer for me to like, it was nice for me to hear someone not being called Miss Angela, but Frau.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, this is nice. So, and my father said, now what are you going to use German for? Are you going to travel to Germany? I said, no, I love the subject. So he just let me do it. But it was so much, I can say. One other subject I did in O level that she was so much against was agriculture. I did agriculture.
Okay.
And then he said, do you want to take on my farm?
Yeah, it's not too late, right? You can have a backyard one.
I said, what do you want to do with agriculture? I said, I love it. But then agriculture was really like the biology, so I couldn't go on with agriculture because with time it got to like biology and all that. So I did physics, economics, math, and German. Okay. So it was, people used to refer to us, students that had like art subjects or languages, like an extra subject that was not really science, because the people who are doing physics called chillers. Like chill, like chill.
CHILLER.
Yes,
Wow.
chillers. Like you're the people who chill. Like you don't have so much to do. Like the stress is not so little. So if you used to think about it in that line, you would say, okay, I'm a chiller. But then also those subjects are not easy because with German it was like a whole literature thing. You need to do grammar, you need to do comprehension and composition, and then you need to read certain amount of books. I think there were 3 or 4 in German, and be able to understand this language, translate them, and make stories out of them in English, both in German. So, and at one point you expected an oral exam. So you still needed to practice. And remember, these other subjects that you're studying are in English. And we are 6 students in the German class. So, and these other 5 students were doing other subjects. Some of them were in the arts class. And so you cannot always be speaking German. So you need to put yourself together and make a timetable and say, this is my time to practice German. And it happened that in our class we had a student that there were always competitions in Uganda. There are competitions where you write an essay and in German when you're still in ordinary level, and then if you win, you're given a trip to Germany for about 3 months. So in our class there was a boy, he was called Peter, and Peter had gone to Germany. He was more like he had won the competition for the previous year, so he had gone to Germany. He was from another school, but he came to our school, and he knew he was like he knew how to comprehend. So it's because he had been with these people. And I couldn't discuss with him all the time because he was the easiest person to discuss with because he was doing arts, history, and geography, I think. So it was always in another world. So you wouldn't meet in German classes. So you need to put yourself together, comprehend the German, and then do these other subjects in English. And so it was the struggle here, there, and mathematics, as usual. At one point, it gets really complicated, and you're wondering, why am I actually doing this? And then I remembered in O level, we had a new teacher that had just come in the school, and he said, mathematics in the school is falling. So he decided to create discussion groups, like he would just discuss for us. Nothing, like no payments, nothing, just discuss for us. And then I said, maybe if I try this, even if there is no one to discuss for me with fellow students, maybe it could work out. So we had groups here and there, girls, boys, and it worked. It seemed to work. So I finished, I got good grades, but I wanted to be a statistician.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to study statistics at the university?
Yes, I wanted to be a statistician. So we usually Uganda, you make applications. You can either get government scholarship to the government universities or you're private. So I wanted to do statistics, but I didn't have an A in economics. So like the best grades in economics, I had a C in economics. So they couldn't give me statistics. So it happens. And then my father tells me, now that you didn't get government scholarship, I gave you your chances. You applied for statistics, you applied for engineering, electrical engineering, like those courses all up there. And then he says, now you failed to get government scholarship. Now I'm going to give you my chances. You're going to apply to 2 public universities, the Makerere and another university, Chambogo, but you're going to apply for education.
Oh, because he's a teacher, he wanted you to also build interesting.
And then there are sisters ahead of me, and I tell him, how comes my sisters didn't do education? Why me? Because my other sister had done social sciences, and then the other one I come after had done hotel management and catering. Like she was in those things of food and food science and technology. And so I asked him, why me? Why me? Then he said, you either do education or I do not pay. But I do not pay your tuition. But when I asked him this statement at the time, I told him, he said, if I don't do education, you won't pay my tuition. He says, no, I never said that. He denies, but he said it. He said it. He said, you either do education or I do not pay. So I applied to universities. I applied just 2 courses. I applied education in the other university and Bachelor of Science, which is basically like also the same thing. You do math and all that, physics, math, what. And then I applied again, Makerere, physics, math, education, and Bachelor of Science. I didn't apply physics, math. Now I said, I don't want to be really, really struck up with serious things. I decided to do mathematics and economics.
Okay.
So I applied math and economics. He said, as long as you apply education, it's fine with me. So I apply, and then I get admission, because the public universities admit you only once. Yeah. So if you lose your chance, I don't know how they synchronize the applications, but if you lose your chance at Makerere, and you're given at Chambogo, if you're given at one public university, then they can give you another course in another public university.
Oh, okay. So that everyone has one opportunity. Otherwise, if you have many, you prevent others from also getting.
Yeah. So you either have, like, you can have a slot on government scholarship at Makerere, and then you apply and you can get a private slot, maybe Chambogo, but they just give you only one course. So I get Makerere, I decide to go. But what is funny is that most people that were in my class, undergraduates, were saying, I was forced, I had no choice. So education was like...
Because it was education, right?
A Bachelor of Science with education. So education, like you do math, econ, but then you're meant to be a teacher after that.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, I had no choice. They forced me. If I do Bachelor of Science flat, I won't get a job. Like all those excuses. So education seemed like it was for the doomed people. So we study, we come study, and you have nothing to do. Obviously, you have to make grades. So we study
But you also
and
do
then
practice, right? You do practice teaching, right?
yeah, we do in second year and third year.
Okay.
So and then one other thing my father did is my other sisters had been to hostels when they're at the university. My father told me, "You commute." I said, "Why me? Why do I have to commute? My sisters, Justin and Mary, were not commuting." So my mother said, "Listen to your parents. The beginning of wisdom comes from respect to parents." And I said, "Okay." So I had nothing to do because even if I decided to go to hostel, no one would pay my hostel fees. So if my mother was supporting, then I would have to commute. So I commuted from home for 3 years. It was okay because other people were also commuting, but some students were commuting, probably maybe some had reasons, financial reasons, others they were sick, so they needed to be home, and all that. So it was fine. Once in a while, you go to a hostel, visit a friend, come to campus, like that, once in a while. But I was not allowed to sleep out. So you visit your friends during the day. And then we go through, we go, and I always said I would be a statistician. So I was thinking after my bachelor's degree, I would go to the School of Statistics at Makerere and probably apply for a master's in statistics because I'd done economics and math. So economics and math was basically because I still had the statistician in me. So
Yeah.
and then I do. So it was second year, we do abstract algebra, group theory.
Okay.
And then we are studying, and then I see these things make sense. Like, okay, I understand. Whereas I always had trouble with numerical methods, iterating. These things, how do they even come? And then they would ask you to make codes for these numerical methods, and you're wondering why. Like, I can just write this down and explain it in my own ways. I don't need to go to the computer and make a loop and break and all that. So then I do. Then third year, the introduction to ring theory and modules. And apparently it was Dr. Severi teaching. It was my first time in third year. And then I do, and I think I was the best in the coursework. So, but then my marks are missing. My marks are missing. So he says, come to office and clear up if you have, like, they put results, coursework results on board, and then you go and complain before you can do exams, and then they compile final results. So I go, and then he asks me a question. So, what do you understand most? I'm like, I understood rings and modules. And then he says, do you think you ever need this thing? And I said, yes, I might come back and do a master's and specialize in algebra. He said, are you sure? And he doesn't remember that conversation.
You have a good memory.
I might come back and do algebra. Like, okay. So I finish, we graduate, and then I wanted to go back and do statistics. But I didn't know, like, after graduation, you can easily get your transcript and all that. So I said, I'll get my transcript next year. So I gave myself a break because I didn't know. Then someone tells me, no, you can pick your transcript, but then the year is already past. I said, I'll come after a year. So we graduated in 2015, then I applied in 2016. But as I am there teaching.
What do you do during that 1 year break?
In that 1 year, now the school I was in high school, had a head teacher. So the head teacher was shifted to another school. So this other school, I went and asked for a job to volunteer because I couldn't stay home. My father told me, go and volunteer, because basically, if you're applying for a job, they usually want people with experience, 3 years, 2 years. And I had no experience apart from the school practice. Now, the school practice is in second year and third year, you're given schools, you go to schools and teach. And then someone comes in and supervises you and then gives you marks. And that's it. Generally, you're struggling for a 70 or an 80 in a 5CU, like 5 course units. So it's really heavy. So you try to do your best you cram whatever you're going to teach the next day, and then you bribe the students. Tell them, please raise up your hands, and then and you tell them, even if I call you Angela when you're not Angela, please help me and say yes, teacher. You have to know students' names. That's basically school practice. You have to know students' names, and then you have to be conversant with the material, and then like confident. So the students usually like student teachers. They call them student teachers in our country. So the student teachers, they usually like them because they are classy, fashion, and young. Not like these math teachers. The math teachers were always old, so they're always strict and all that. So they like these young people they can joke around with. So it's usually so hard for someone to get a retake in school practice. So it was easy and gone. So my father tells me, go and ask for volunteering. So I asked, and he gladly gave me, and as always given transport allowance, like transport.
Okay.
So the money, so the money would be like transport allowance, not a salary, but transport allowance. But then it would help me
to pay for lunch.
No, lunch was provided at school, but for other needs, obviously, you don't go back to your parents and say, I want this. Because according to them, you've matured, you've graduated. So
from the university,
Yeah, from the university. So I give myself a break, and then I am volunteering. So I go home, I'm still coming from home, and then my father, after that, my sister tells me, you always wanted to be a statistician, so are you going for a master's? And I tell her, yes, I am. But then my mind, because I had talked about the algebra, like the algebra was making sense in my mind. So I said, why don't I try math?
Yeah.
Let me try math. So I come back, I apply for a master's. Like when people are applying, they're not sure whether they want pure or applied. So, but I was sure I wanted to do algebra, so I just applied. That's it, pure. So I applied and I was given, like it's, if you have the qualification, like the transcript from undergraduate usually helps you. So I applied and then I get, so we begin in 2016 August. But now in 2016, like May there, I'm given a job, but the salary is not like really high. It's just like, you add like 10,000 or 30,000 to the transport allowance they're giving me. So it's basically like, but then they gave me a letter of, we've given you
appointment.
Appointment. So I'm like, okay. So my father tells me, now that you have a job, you're going to go back, you've applied, so I will contribute to your tuition. You also contribute. I think he just didn't want me to like spend everything and then come to him for tuition and all that. So I agree, and then obviously
so you were working and studying. You were working and studying.
Yeah, working and studying. Oh. That first year was hell. It was really hard. But then Dr. Seri doesn't know I was working, so I.
Oh, okay. Was it because the program was on full-time basis?
Yes, it's supposed to be a full-time.
Okay.
And like when they get to know that you're working, so they don't really take you serious. So you need to find a way. So you find a way of like breaking your timetable, you schedule into the other. So I did, and then we agreed, but my father was paying almost a bigger portion of tuition. It was fine. So after first year, Dr. Sevi tells me there is this EAMP scholarship that favors good students for the second year, or the year of research. So I'm like, okay. So he tells me, you write and apply to a professor. You apply through Professor Kasozi. Is on the EAMP committee, something like that. So Kasozi Juma. So we applied, and I think there was another student in the previous year, a year ahead of me, but he hadn't finished his master's. And then there's also a lady here, So Helen and me applied, and then we are
I
given.
think I met Helen and Da, right?
Yeah. So we apply, and then we are given. So tuition is solved. The problem of tuition second year is solved. So it's cool. And then I told myself, I don't think I need to work anymore because I have the tuition.
Yeah.
But then I said I need like other expenses, transport.
Yeah.
But then I said, I told them I would cut down my classes.
Yeah.
And then if it's holiday time at the university, I come back and do full time. If time not that is not holiday at the university, then I can stay on. So that's how I managed here and there.
Wow, interesting.
So I graduated. But before graduation, I am still writing a thesis, my master's thesis. And then Dr. Seve tells me, he has been a very big part in my postgraduate study. There is a scholarship to do a PhD from Uganda. You might have chances to travel because we all love to travel, but I don't know. You might have chances to travel, but are you ready for it? I tell him, yes, I am. He says, no, think about it. Probably you told a boyfriend that after graduation, masters, you get married. So think about it. Do you want to do the PhD? And then he says, if you want to do the PhD, you need to know that this is a full-time job. It requires you full-time. So there is no joking. I don't want you to do the PhD and then after you say, no, then we first get married and have kids. And he said, you'll have kids later on. Like, I mean, you're still young. Because I immediately told him, I'll do it. So I go home and I tell my parents I'm doing a PhD. And my father, when I was doing my master's, he asked me, okay, so what are these things you're working on? Can you explain? Then I told him, these are just sets, because I was working on rings, and I said, these are just sets. You add and multiply and divide in the sets, just that. Like, okay. So I tell them I'm doing a PhD, and then my father's like, okay, do it. Like, that's your choice. Like, they didn't stop me. So I begin.
When did you begin? Which year?
29, like by the time we're coming to Dar es Salaam, the problems were already available. Okay. But Dr. Seve said we hadn't submitted our theses. So he said, you will start on them immediately you submit. Okay. And then, so he gives us the problems. He says, I've been in the UK and I have this person I know. He has given me problems. Michael has given me problems. So he had 2 problems. And he had 2 PhD students. I don't know Brian's story, how he comes in, but then he gives us 2 problems and he says, you pick. I don't know that. So I pick one. I just say, I'll do this. And then Brian picks the other. As it turns out, I picked the other because I was seeing braids.
You thought it was best?
No, not that. Like the braids, there were diagrams of braids. Yeah. But you had talked about braids in Hope algebras. And you're concluding and you talked about braids. So I said, I think I can do this because I've seen the words before. And the other ones had adding component, decomposition, deformation of spaces. I'd never seen those words. So I said, those ones have braids. I think I'll do this. I just choose the problem. And then we start doing reading here and there because chamber structures, you have to, because the work entails a lot of algebraic geometry. And the only first introduction I've ever had to algebraic geometry was in Dar es Salaam, actually. I'd never studied. So you have to read, understand what a variety is, and then here and there, you're trying to bring things together here and there. So we read and read. Then in March
2019.
2019. Because we submitted like in December there. Okay. No. I submitted like in September.
Oh, your thesis. Okay.
No, the thesis. So we have the problem, but you're reading here and there. So in March, Dr. Seve says, Michael wants to talk to you. So I'll give you an email and you schedule a Skype meeting with him. And then I asked him, now what will I tell him? And he says, whatever you've read. Like, okay, this is it. So we schedule, and then he like, you obviously say, I've read this, I've read hyperplane arrangements, have that. And then I remember one comment he made, he told me, what you've read on hyperplane arrangements is actually too algebraic. So that is one comment I remember so well. And then he says, okay, but then we can do this. So he begins slowly, read this, like, gives you papers, read that. And then he says he's coming over like in a few weeks. So he came over in April, if I'm not mistaken. He came over in April and he spent 4 days or 5 days. And then we go a few things because we needed to submit application for PhD admission. So you have what they call a concept note, so a synopsis. It was a synopsis, so we write it, and then because I'd written something, and then he just goes through and says, I think this is perfect. So submit, because I submitted a master's thesis in September, and then defended it in January. February there. So as long as you've defended, you can actually have a letter of, they call it a letter of completion, and then you can get your transcript later, and then and then enroll. So it was easy because it was still the same university that I was enrolling in. So we apply and then we start reading. So from the time Michael left Uganda, we had to do Skype meetings, I think, every week. We do it every week, sometimes twice after a fortnight, but in most cases every week. So basically that's what we've been doing. And then so we've been here, like, that's how we work. So I'm here, and then like out of the blue, Michael sends me an email and says, Balash thinks, I don't know why, but Balash had visited Uganda again, and he, whenever he visits, he asks, whenever you meet him, he asks, let's talk mathematics. So he wants to know how you're doing, because he knows you're doing a PhD with so and that. So he says, let's talk mathematics. So we meet, I and Brian, and then we discuss whatever you think you know. And then I remember Balash's comment, he says, I do not understand whatever you're doing, but you're hardworking, keep on working hard. Like people who work hard. So at one point, like in March 2020, Michael sends me an email and says, Balash thinks I should nominate you for the IMU Graduate Breakout Fellowship. And then I'm like, okay. He's like, it has more money, it's better, it has more money, it's more famous, and you can live the grade, because I was under the scholarship grade, graduate assistantship in developing countries. And you can leave grade for someone else, because grade, even if you do not have an admission letter, then you can apply. But then for the Breakout Fellowship, you need to have an admission letter, be enrolled. So he says, you can leave it for someone. So he tells me, send me your documents and all that, and then motivation letter and that, and then we can apply. So I sent them, and then after some time, like in May, he sends me an email and says, write this, that you confess that the information I sent is correct. So I write and sign that it is correct, and then that's it. So I receive an email. Congratulations.
Wow.
Your application. Like, because I didn't know what was going on, he applied, Michael applied everything and nominated.
But you know head back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I get that.
Wow.
So I'm here.
Wow. Well, I think you've really given us a very thorough run through your journey. And one thing that stands out for me is we also want to encourage young girls, young ones to study mathematics. And I like the way you focus so much on your secondary education, the struggles you went through, how you overcame them, even choosing your courses at the university. So I identify with you somehow because I also did elective mathematics and economics at the university. I wanted to do something else, but that was what. Was I given? That was my second choice, but I found so much joy in doing abstract algebra. So I also ended up doing similar things like you. So I think our time is really, really, really gone, and you also have to quickly rush for your class. So we'll quickly end here. So thank you so much. But before we go, in 1 minute, give a message to a young Ugandan girl watching you from Western Uganda, or any young girl watching you from across the world. We want to inspire young girls to take up careers in mathematics related fields. You didn't think of doing math, right, when you were in secondary school, but now you are doing it. So what will be your inspiring message to them in a minute?
1 minute is one thing we should all, in 1 minute, one thing we should all know is that our dreams will always catch up with us. So if you start on a dream, it will catch up with you one way or the other. I understood it later on when I decided to say, let me take on algebra, and it caught up with me. And once you've started on something, please, giving up is not a choice. Like, go on, push on, push on, push on. I mean, there are other people that are facing challenges. My life might be smooth, but there are people with greater challenges. And I could also be having challenges that other people do not have. Like, their life is smoother than mine. So when you start on something, giving up is not an option. Push on and push on and push on. And always remember, if this person can do it, if Caro can do it, if Angela can do it, why not me? And everyone has a right to pursue their dreams. So keep on. Giving up is not an option.
Okay, so keep on pursuing your dream. Giving up is not an option. Thank you so much, Carol, for coming for this interview, and we look forward to sharing your story with the world. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.